Hey guys, this is Mike Sullivan, the Assemblies of God Arkansas District men's training coach, and coming to you one more time to present some training video for you. Today I want us to look at developing a man-friendly church. Many of our churches are not man-friendly at all. I would encourage you, if you haven't picked up a copy of this, don't let anything get in your way. Go to your Christian bookstore, get on the internet, find by David Murrow, Why Men Hate Going to Church. This is a powerful book. David Murrow is not he's not a pastor. He's actually just a man in the church. But he has struggled with why do we have such a wide gap between men and women in our local congregations. And I'll tell you, some of the things we have in our church sabotage our church. As a pastor, I wouldn't have thought about this until I actually saw David Murrow at a National Men's Ministries conference, heard him speak, bought his book right off because the things that he was talking about connected. It made sense. But if you go through that, he'll share with you some things, and there's some other stuff I want to share with you that go along with this. It's called Church for Men. Church for Men. You can look it up on the internet. I believe it's churchformen.com. And in there's printable materials right here that I've got different pages of things that I just clicked and different articles. That's a huge churchformen.com is a huge resource to get some excellent men's material. And one of the things that in coming to grips with the disproportionate measure of why do we have 2 to 3, sometimes 4 women for every one man in our local church. There's no other, from what I understand, there is no other world religion, not Buddhism, certainly not Islam, where women outnumber men. But Christianity there is. In my opinion, it's Satan's way of trying to discourage us from doing what is right. And you take away the men, you take away a lot of your emphasis, you take away a lot of your future for ministry. Church for Men points out that women comprise more than 60% of the adults in the typical worship service in America. Some overseas congregations report 10 women for every man in attendance, and volunteer ranks are heavily female. No other religion suffers the enormous gender gaps that plague Christianity. It goes on, it says that the church's gender gap is often invisible among the top tier of church leadership, which is still heavily male. Over 90% of Protestant pastors and, of course, 100% of Catholic priests are male. But as one gentleman, Leon Podles, put it best, the modern church is an army of women led by a few male generals. Some of the statistics that comes out as to the gender gap we have in our church, and again, I'm probably preaching to the choir, but just to give you some information to arm yourself with, is a typical U.S. congregation draws an adult crowd that's 61% female, 39% male. And it shows up, this gap shows up in all categories, even in your youth group, your children's church, senior adults, it's all the way across. On any given Sunday, there are 13 million more adult women than men in American churches. This past Sunday, almost 25% of married church-going women will worship without their husbands. Midweek activities often draw 70 to 80% female participants, even less men on, if you have a Wednesday night service, Tuesday night service, you'll have even less men than you did on Sunday. The majority of church employees are women, except for ordained clergy, which is overwhelmingly male. Over 70% of boys who are being raised in church will abandon it during their teens and 20s, and many of those boys will never return. More than 90% of American men believe in God, and 5 out of 6 call themselves Christian, but only 1 out of 6 attend church on any given Sunday. The average man accepts the reality of Jesus Christ, but fails to see any value in going to church. That right there is one you need to grasp hold of. They believe in God, but they do not see the need or the value of attending a local church. And that's some of what we're going to talk about this morning. Churches overseas report gender gaps of up to 9 women for every adult man in attendance. Christian universities are becoming convents. The typical Christian college in the U.S. enrolls 2 women for every 1 man. And fewer than 10% of U.S. churches are able to establish and maintain a vibrant men's ministry. So if you don't have a men's ministry in your church and you're trying to start one, you're watching these to start a men's ministry, you're not alone. Less than 10% of American churches actually have a vibrant men's ministry. There's a lot that have a sick men's ministry, but so many that don't even have a single one. And a part of what we have, and David Murrow goes through this in his book, Why Men Hate Going to Church, is that a lot of our churches look like women's buildings. I didn't realize this till I came back from the conference where I saw Mr. Murrow speak, and I came back to my own church and I started looking around. And one of the things he pointed out was just look at your decorations. Just look at the decorations in your church. And when I did, I saw lace doilies, I saw little white turtle doves, I saw fresh pastel flowers everywhere. Beautiful ornate pictures. It was all women's stuff. And I began to realize this guy's right. We do ourselves a disservice from the very beginning by dressing up our church to look like a ladies' retreat versus a place where men feel welcome. And the fact is that women will feel welcome in a masculine environment. Even a Bass Pro Shop, the brand new Bass Pro Shop they built in Little Rock, man, there's tons of women that go in that place. But you build a brand new Hobby Lobby, and let's see how many men show up there for their groundbreaking ceremonies. So a lot of how we decorate turns it off. When we built our new building here, I actually learned something that I picked up from Pastor Bob Fant in Springdale, Arkansas, at his church. When they went in and remodeled, they put a lot of rock, they put a lot of wood. If they have any plants at all, it's greenery, it's not flowers. Guys don't mind green. I guess it reminds us of being in the woods. We don't mind the wood. We don't mind the rock and tile. And we don't use pastel colors. We use bold colors like the blues and the greens, browns, tans, things like that. Women are okay with that, but men are not okay with feminine things. And if you need to show, if you're the pastor and you need to show this to your WMs, because if your WMs want, your women's ministries wants men in the church, they need to help you with this. Because when you're turning your ladies to decorate your church, turn them loose to do it, they can be hurting the men's ministry more than helping. And one of the arguments is, well, we've got guys that have been going here for 20 years. Yes, they've become acclimated to that environment. But for the brand new men, to get brand new men coming into your church, that's where the hurdle is. You'll keep the ones you have for 20 years, no matter what you pay into the church. But you could be doing yourself a disservice because you're not taking care of things. Your worship, some of your worship. David Murrow pointed out a song where it says, I want to put my head on your chest. I want to drink from your cup. Lord, I have great passion for you. It's words that if a man was talking to a woman, hey, that'd be all right. If a woman was singing this to a man, it sounds like something out of a romance novel. But for a guy to sing that to a dude, which literally that's what we are. We're men singing to a male God. And for some of us, we can get past some of that. But I want you to understand it's not about the men you have. It's about the ones you're trying to get. And they are not okay with being overtly feminine. When our decorations are feminine, our songs are feminine, some of our activities are feminine. If you have a church banquet and it's pretty food, you're not doing anything to attract men. So in developing a man-friendly church, if you want to have men's ministry, you want to have a good men's ministry, start in your church. Start in your sanctuary. Start with those things that make guys comfortable. You have a youth group. Even if you have a female youth pastor, it's okay. If you have a female pastor, that's all right. Just if you want men in your church, you're going to have to do something to make it a little more masculine. It may take some paint. It may take a little bit of redecorating. It may mean going down to Hobby Lobby, and you can go down to Hobby Lobby. Man, they got a ton of stuff that's man-friendly. Take a guy with you and let him help you decorate your church. No, it doesn't have to look like Bass Pro Shop. It doesn't have to look like your local Chevy dealership garage, but it needs to look like something that would attract men. Your worship needs to be in a way that attracts men. Men don't mind worship, but we need to do it in such a way that men feel okay to do it. Find a way to turn down the lights of your sanctuary while you're doing worship. One of the best things we ever did since I've been pastoring is during our worship time on the platform, we'll as soon as worship starts, we leave the platform flooded with lights, but we turn down our lights or turn off our lights in the sanctuary so that, one, all the focus is on the platform on worship. You're not looking to see, well, who's over there, what are they wearing, are these people over here, or who's got their hands raised. You'll actually find people are more comfortable to worship in an environment where they feel like they're hidden. They feel safer to do it. And you can make the excuses all day long. Well, they shouldn't be ashamed to worship. Well, that's fine and good, but you can be hurting yourself from developing people right off the bat. Matter of fact, I had one couple that was in their 70s who came to me and said, "Thank you, Pastor, for doing that. And because of it, we feel free to worship." And this is from some of our seniors. And I thought, man, if they don't have a problem with it, I know the young people don't have a problem with it. It takes away the opportunity to feel like people are watching me, so I'm not going to get expressive in worship. Look around your church. Find ways. What can I do to make my church more man-friendly? There's one of the things from churchformen.com is a thing called "How Guy-Friendly Is Your Church?" It's a test that you can take. I've done it at some conferences that I was speaking at, and I'd give it away. And it talks about impressions. Let's start with first impressions. Does your church have men in the parking lot welcoming people in? If all you got's ladies at the front door, that's not man friendly. It's not as threatening, but you need to have some guys that are out there. Guys bond with guys. It's much easier that way. And you rate yourself: 1, never; 3, rarely; 5, sometimes; 7, often; 9, always. You write your score down there. How good is your church's signage, pointing people to the sanctuary, restrooms, classrooms, and all? Because guys dig signs. We like knowing where we're going. We don't like the threat of looking like an idiot. 1, no signs; 3, a few signs; 5, signs at some corners; 7, a lot of signs; 9, a ridiculous number of signs. You rate yourself. You score yourself. How good is your church? How do you do these things? You just write the score down there on the side. What condition is your church facility? Old and tired, old but functional, well kept, nicely updated and kept, cutting edge. Your sanctuary is decorated, 1, like a ladies' parlor with quilts, banners, lace, and flowers; 3, somewhat feminine with fresh flowers; 5, gender neutral; 7, somewhat masculine; 9, intentionally masculine. Go through these things and write it down. Again, you can find this, the guy friendly test at churchformen.com. The very last page of it, there's 50 questions, and after you do all 50 of those questions, then you add it all up. And where you got ones, it's not all men. You understand not all men are alike, but you add it up. And that the higher the score, the better you are. The lower the score, the more woman-friendly your church is. And a score of 50 would indicate a serious problem, and a score of 450 would probably not be, if everything's to the highest point, man-wise, overtly masculine isn't such a good thing either. Gender neutral is great. Slightly masculine is good. It's better to have, Jurassic Park instead of Hello Kitty, but something that makes the church feel man-friendly. So these are some things you can get, some things you can use. Go to churchformen.com. find some of this stuff and start taking a good look around your church. Start taking a good look at your pastor, you as the men's leader. Start looking at some of these things so that you can intentionally be creating in your church a man-friendly church, a place where men feel free to worship. God bless you. Pray you guys have a great week, great month. If there's anything you need from me, you can get hold of me at Mike at poandassemblyofgod.org. You can get hold of the district office, get hold of me or Brother Terry Newman, our district men's director, and we'll be glad to help you all that we can. God bless you. Y'all take care.